gas here, I'll run out of gas. They always set me up for that. I can't even get, usually I step over the running board. I have to get on the running board because I'm like, I just can't.
Yeah.
It's like,
it doesn't have like.
It is like driving a school bus in here.
It's like a little cab over.
The customer is not super tall, and so we had to use our shortest guy here, which is Danny and Andre, and they were still too tall. Backup camera. All right, you better get some gas, because as you know, when they say there's a little gas in it, that pretty much means it's empty. Oh yeah, this is fun. I haven't driven this one very much. Whoa, rowdy. A lot of power. So I have a photo of when he came and drove it, just to kind of do like a little fitment. He sent me a photo and his head is only right here. He's like, I think I need my seat raised up. And I was like, holy crap. He wanted it raised 3 inches. We raised it 3, and then it was like way too tall. So we had to cut it down and go to 2. He can use this electric seats and raise it up if he needs to, but he's a cool dude. Super, super cool. I don't have any money. No, I don't have. Yeah, I do have Apple Pay. Does that work here?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
I'll keep you.
This is like, how do you do it?
You gotta get no, easy. You gotta get your wallet out first. Oh, that's.
Look, it came up.
Oh, you have $1.64. That don't get us nowhere.
Okay, you're gonna have to do this. Nice. So you just did that with your phone?
Yeah. All right, now you just.
Wow. I did not know you could do that this entire time. I go into my wallet, I get my credit card out, I put it all in there, and I didn't know. And then, do you know what I do is I'm on my phone filling up gas, right? And I didn't know I could just. I learn something new every day, dude. I guess I am old. Well, since you're paying, we might as well fill this up. Funny.
That tire out.
Pull the hubcap off, and there's 2 lug nuts that hold it on. Actually, it was funny. They were putting all the hubcaps on. Everybody waits till the very end to put hubcaps on. They put the hubcap on here yesterday, and the hubcap was crooked a quarter turn. And they're like, oh, fetch, we didn't even think about the hubcap needing to be keyed in this thing. So he looks at me like, is this okay? And I was like, what do you think the right thing to do is? He's like, jumps right in there, pulls it out, and goes and fixes it. But it kind of sucked a little bit. Didn't take too long, only a couple hours. That's it, man. You don't have to stick your hand in here and tighten it down. So, done. All right, guys, so this truck is unique. These cabs are small. People were much smaller back in 1948. This would have been a small little bench seat. We put some bucket seats in here for comfort, and that's what the customer wanted. He wanted a manual, and you can see that it's tough to squeeze a manual in here, and also bucket seats and everything, so, or a bench seat, I'm sorry. But anyway, so let me tell you a little bit about this truck. This one's a 1949. This was a work truck back in the day. The truck was delivered to us basically all bare metal, but of course we had to strip it down again because there was some rust and stuff. And we kind of went through and just rebuilt it. He wanted this thing to be like an actual truck. And so he wanted it to have a trailer hitch. So if you look right here, you've even got your trailer controller here. So if you hook it on, you got trailer brakes, you can control the gain on that. One day we kind of put it to work. We went and picked up a few chassis over at Porterbuilt so we could kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone, and it did fine. We've got airbags on it. We actually have an airlift controller. And so he's got an onboard compressor, and he can just air up his airbags and keep everything nice and level. You've got a USB and the USB Type-C charge port. And then we've actually 3D printed this whole section here. This would have been just like a speaker. Would have looked kind of similar through here. You would have had a vent here, and there would have been like an AM speaker. He wanted a radio with navigation, backup camera, stuff like that. And so we decided to custom design this thing. We didn't want to lose kind of its nostalgicness. We wanted it to stay real interesting looking and very period correct. And so we tried really hard to just make the inside as high tech as we could, but yet blend it with its rich history. You've got windshield wipers and all the fun stuff that you need to drive a truck. I doubt you'll be driving this in the rain, although he easily could. We've put door panels in here. They did not come with door panels back then. It was just like a metal panel with a bunch of fasteners and screws that were highly visible. And so we tried to come up with something that wasn't too over the top and crazy, but still had a kind of a clean, classic, vintage look and cover up all the fasteners. They're kind of ugly. We had to leave a few because there's nothing we could do about it. Like, I couldn't do much about these, but we installed, there's a bunch of fasteners behind here we hid. There's a little logo of an agave tree. He has a company, a mezcal company, where they, I guess they make tequila out of agave, is that right? I don't drink, so I don't actually know, but
I don't know either.
But very cool stuff. You got your Dakota digital gauges. You got AC right here, so works awesome. Doesn't take much to cool down this tiny little cab. And this thing runs good. We've got Focal sound system in here, so we got a couple 8s in the back and a couple 6.5s up front in the kick panels. Got some cup holders right here if you kind of see. You know, it just felt weird to have something here, so obviously you had this here. We thought this would be a perfect spot to just slide in some cup holders. Anyways, man, this thing is awesome. You don't see trucks built like this ever. I've never seen somebody actually do this to one of these trucks that's a 2-wheel drive that can perform like a regular truck. The words he used in the very beginning were, I want it to be kind of like a highboy truck. And so what we did is we just raised it 2 inches over factory and designed everything around that. All right, you wanna go through the gears? It's spinning in 3rd gear. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whoopsie, this thing rips. It's not loud, is it, right? That's perfect. It's like, we really can have like conversation and play music and you don't have anything like crazy going on. That's nice. That is a nice driving truck. Man, the guys did an amazing job. Man, he's gonna love this thing. I can't wait to get it to him. Let's talk about it. It wasn't called F100 until 1953, and so it was called an F1. This is kind of the first truck after the World War II that they're coming out with. It was gonna be a little more powerful, it was gonna be more capable, and so this is kind of like the first real truck. The earlier ones are nice too, but this was kind of like where the Ford trucks really started to take traction, was in 1948. So this is a 1949. Now, there are some differences between 1948 to 1952, although it's the same model. The dash is a little bit different, the grille's a little bit different. So this 1948 to kind of 1950 has this grille. Now, it will often be referred to as the monkey face truck because it kind of reminds you of an old monkey. But this typically would have been like all stainless steel here, a black bumper. These were stainless steel, these as well. But the customer was kind of looking for something a little bit more muted, not quite as flashy, also something more modern. And so what we did is we actually Cerakoted all these parts. So that's kind of a personal favorite for me. So all the gray that you see on this truck is 100% Cerakote. We had a couple different colors we were looking at. He is a big silver fan, his new truck silver. His hot rod that he's going to be pulling with this truck is silver. We went with a Porsche color just because it has a much finer metallic and pearl in it. We didn't want to get too crazy with a 1950s truck, and so we wanted to make sure it was still classic. So a little bit of metallic, so you know, pops in the sun. We've got these US mag wheels, kind of a classic looking look. We got some 17s here. And they actually don't make these anymore. We had to get a spare tire and it was actually a pain in the neck. They got rid of the chains, obviously. We put some latches right here that we can just open up. That comes down, there's a cable there to support it. And then we've got the bed floor. Now we raised the bed floor for a few reasons. We had a lot of stuff to get in this truck. We were also trying to work on how we're gonna mount a spare tire, and so we kind of recessed it in the floor. We didn't want to have it up higher. We didn't want to have it blocking the view. So, hey, how's it going? Thanks. We're gonna drive it on the baseball field next and do burnouts. Anyways, and so we're gonna build a cover for it to kind of match the interior here next couple days before we ship it to him. More of a surprise to him because he doesn't know we're gonna do that for him. But we've got this wood here. Now this is quarter sawn white oak, which is actually a popular wood these days, but it's also a very period correct kind of wood because that was something that a lot of antique furniture built in the early 40s, 50s would have been made out of quarter sawn white oak. So with this though, we actually took it and we did kind of a light white stain on it. and then we sealed that all up, and then we came back and toned it with a little bit of a gray glaze over that. Then after that we cleared it so that we could kind of get a lighter undertones, but still kind of tie it into these Cerakoted bed strips. And of course here's our fuel door. That makes it nice and easy. Just, you saw us just fill that up. So super easy there. These are very original. This is actually glass. And I know that because we actually broke one the other day and we had to get a new one. And so that kind of sucked. So they're a little bit fragile. Of course, you've got these custom billet hinges that go in there. So typically you would have had a handle that just twisted. And this is a push button handle, okay? With an Altman Easy Latch. There's no kit to buy to do this. I just want you guys to know that. This is actually 53 to 56 handle that we took, modified, fit this, and pain in the ass. I'm not gonna lie. There's just not enough space in here. It gets really tight up here, and so it was very tough to make it all work. The guys just spent a ton of time, something he wanted. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Little agave plant. This is kind of the logo that they used. So we actually just 3D printed this and these parts here that we could install. You see there's a lot of lines here. So we just tried to maintain a little bit of a line look through here, kind of break this up. We try to keep some lines right here. And so we wanted some continuity with everything, and so I think it came out pretty good. We got this square weave right here. It's bound with the same leather. So you got your pedals and everything, Willwood kit that we sell online that you can purchase for your 48 to 52. If you got a manual or an automatic, you can buy these pedals. And of course, these are all 3D printed here as well. Rather than just building a billet piece for $10,000, we 3D printed and Cerakoted for $9,000. That's kind of how it goes. This was an LED light that we sell that we use in 67, 72, but we needed something small to tuck in here. With some of this, I can't change and Cerakote that, so we kind of left a little bit of this kind of stuff on the inside without getting too crazy, just to offer, you know, a little bit more, because, you know, this stainless steel here, Cerakoted that, so it's nice and will stay nice and clean. Yeah, pretty cool. This is all custom fit and designed and shaped here in our shop. So we actually are using an MT82 transmission. The customer actually provided the motor and trans to us, and so then we had to buy a component to install this shifter the way we needed it in the right location. We had it back a little bit further earlier, back right here, but then when the customer came and fit in it, he scooted his seat so far up that I was like, we got to change it. We got to move this as far forward as we can. So we made some little pockets here so we could run a little wire through here, because we actually got a key fob to lock and unlock the doors. And so we needed to run a little wires, and that provides a little bit of room for it to close. The best part is what's underneath here, what drives this thing. And so you've got the first unlocks it. The next one is the safety latch right here. I'll have to tell you a story about safety latches one of these days. That's coming up in a video soon. We've got a Gen 2, which is a 2015 to 2017 Mustang. And so you would have had an MT82 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic. And so he wanted a manual, and so that's what he shipped to us. We've got that sitting in here. It's tight. If you look underneath the hood, there's just not a ton of space. And so this is a radiator that we designed that we have on our website. It's got a really nice, large brushless fan, so it's not super loud and can provide the power we need to keep the engine nice and cool. But you can see it's tight on space. Generally speaking, people will take their cold air intakes and they would then shoot it straight down here where there's actually room. We pierce through, and we have our cold air intake actually inside our fender. And so we took advantage of these giant fenders on the front and hid some stuff under here. Likewise, we also hid the ECU inside that fender as well and kind of cover that up. I've seen them come up, I've seen people go back with them. There's just not a ton of room, but this works out well. We're running this electric master cylinder ABS thing, and so when I'm driving, you'll hear like a little and so that's a tiny little electric pump that's actually creating about 1,300 PSI to the tires calipers essentially, and so it actually stops really well. It's a clutch, so there's our reservoir for the clutch tying inside to the master cylinder for that, and so it goes down to the MT82, which is a hydraulic throwout bearing. Because he was going to be pulling it, we did put like a power steering cooler and a few things like that just to make sure this thing, you know, is going to work well. We've got a lot of little gadgets and things in here. You saw the backup camera and whatnot. And so just to make it as convenient for him as possible. So he can put his phone in there, he can Bluetooth, talk on the phone, drive it, and just feel comfortable and drive to El Mirage or wherever he's headed to pull his race car. So we're essentially done with this, minus just maybe a last little bit of cleaning. He's going to be coming to pick this up maybe in about a week. So we want to get the video done. We'll take some photos of this so we can get it in a magazine, and then we're good to go. So beautiful truck. We're super excited to, one, have it finished. That's always the best part, is being done and getting it to the customer, and move on to all the other projects that are in the shop, just kind of waiting for us to get to them. But more than anything, I get to go drive it now. That's the best part. I get to go drive it, spend a little bit of time with it. I've already found one thing since we've been driving it, just already made a mental note, one thing to adjust. But otherwise, stay tuned. We've got more videos, more trucks. They're coming at you. Make sure you follow, subscribe, and all those little things everybody else says. Stay up to date with all the new videos we got coming out.